Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. So Safer Internet Day actually took place on Tuesday. We run this webinar then. We wanted to run a repeat for those that weren't able to make Tuesday evening. As it says on the screen, to aid with streaming and continuity, we have disabled cameras and microphones for attendees. If you do have any questions or observations, please do pop them into the chat facility. So that should be a speech bubble at the top of your screen. We'll try and deal with questions at the end. I shall go through the content as per the presentation. Following on from the session, we are going to send out a copy of the slides, some useful links and some further information should it be of use to you, and you would be most welcome to share it on with others. There will also be a very quick survey on there if you wouldn't mind spending a couple of minutes in, because we are keen to make sure that we're getting the messages across that we need to and that the content is pitched correctly. It is a bit of a whistle-stop tour. I'm trying to cover protect advice, the best ways in which we can protect our accounts online. Also, just covering the general theme of fraud and scams, which actually applies to us all and not just young people. And we hope you find the session useful. So I'm Sam Hancock. I'm the Cyber Protect Officer for Derbyshire Police. Just a bit of a shameless plug there at the bottom. We are Derbyshire Police Online Safety on Facebook. We try to keep that page updated pretty much daily, signposting to other really useful resources. We use it for promoting any events or webinars that we're holding, and also to warn of various different frauds and scams that you might need to be aware of. In terms of what we do, we run webinars, we run community talks, we go into schools, we run internal training for councils, for businesses, we support victims, etc. But in the line of this protect work particularly, there are actually only 2 of us for the whole of Derbyshire. So we're on a bit of a mission to get those that are able to help us out. If you are able to attend a webinar such as this, or you receive information following on from a session, could we ask you to please tell 2 other people some of the things that you learn from these sessions and emails, because that way we can help to protect many more. We really are on a mission to prevent cybercrime from occurring rather than just reacting and supporting victims when something's gone wrong. Let's teach others how to protect themselves. So if we start off with what we call the ABC rule, and with the advent of technology and particularly the way things can be spoofed and the way pictures can be edited, etc. these days, unfortunately, we no longer can accept things on face value. Seeing is not believing anymore. So A, accept nothing on face value. B, is to believe nothing or no one until we've actually taken steps to verify that it is legitimate. And C is to challenge or confirm everything. Quite simply, our first line of defence when we're using internet email and apps is actually the devices that we're using to access those. It's really important that we're still using up-to-date supported operating systems, and by that I mean something that still receives regular security updates. If your phone, tablet or computer says there's an update available, please do install it, because it is being sent out because a vulnerability has been identified and the manufacturer has released a patch to fix that particular flaw. We often get asked about antivirus software. There's lots available. There are free ones, there are subscription ones, but in essence, laptops and computers, if you have Windows installed, you will already have Windows Defender. Leave that in the background doing its thing. Please don't turn it off. Please make sure that it's set to auto update. That way you'll always be running the most up-to-date one. But in relation to things like laptops and phones, providing you're only downloading from official app stores such as Google Play or Apple, no additional antivirus is required. Your devices will look after themselves, essentially. The risk comes from downloading things from third-party websites, not app stores. So just remember, it's absolutely critical that whatever you're using, whether it's an app, whether it's an operating system, a device, whatever, if you get that notification an update is available, please do install it. Our next line of defense are the passwords that we use to secure our accounts. The bad news is, I'm afraid, that you really do need to have a different password for everything you log into. Think of them like keys. We don't have one key to lock everything that matters to us. We can't just have a small number of passwords to protect everything. It's different ones for different platforms. In terms of how on earth we're supposed to remember those all, password manager apps. If you're using Google accounts or Apple accounts, you will have password managers already built in. These already create and suggest useful passwords or good passwords to secure your accounts you're not using elsewhere, and it'll also store them for you. What you can do also is operate a password hint process. I still do this. I've got a little A to Z book where I write down my username and a password hint, which is a prompt for me to remind me of what the password is. But that document actually is of no use to anybody else at all. I do understand that memory issues can be a problem. I would rather that you wrote things down in full and kept that list safe than you continued to use the same or similar passwords on lots of your accounts. So please do consider how you can look at reminding yourself about passwords in those different ways. It's really important that we don't use words, names, or information that is readily available in the public domain or might be easily worked out or known by a lot of other people because of social media content, relationships, etc. So things that people typically use might be maiden names, places of birth, children's names, pets' names, teams you support, etc. Just bear in mind, particularly, that this information can be easily found out, so therefore isn't a secure type of information for creating a password. GCHQ advised putting 3 random words together because in actual fact, when it comes to passwords, it's actually the length of the password that denotes its strength rather than the complexity. So putting 3 random words together makes the password longer and therefore more secure. And obviously, by the virtue of the fact that it's random words, people aren't going to be able to guess or work out what they are. Unfortunately, many sites require complexity. So it may well be that you need to add numbers or add special characters. Personally, I try to make life easy, so I start words with capital letters. I swap letters for a number that looks like it. I also don't particularly like using the exclamation mark because virtually everybody seems to use that. To try and think of another symbol, I quite like pound sign because it's not on all keyboards. Your most important accounts are your password manager. You cannot reset a password to a password manager for obvious security reasons. You would have to start again, setting up a new account. But your other most important account is that of your email. Your email account controls every other account you have online. It's where password resets go. It contains a wealth of really important information, such as different companies you deal with. It might be health stuff from NHS, who you bank with, who you shop with. Really important that we secure email accounts. And to that end, I'd like to bring you on to your safety net. The way you can double lock your accounts and protect them is by using something called two-factor authentication or two-step verification. This is the same sort of security that banks put on mobile banking apps and internet banking. So we ought to be using this on our other accounts. It is essentially a second layer of protection. It's like having a door and having 2 separate locks with 2 separate keys. So we really do need to impress upon you how important it is to set this up within your other online apps. As I already mentioned, of most importance, your email account. It will be in security settings as an option. It may be known as two-step verification rather than two-factor, but please do get it set up. Each site is different, so I have put in a useful website there, 2fa.directory, which will allow you to type in the different accounts that you have. So, for example, you could type Gmail, the bar will come up green and there should be a little icon or word for document. If you press on that, it will take you to Google's step-by-step setup instructions. So in terms of importance, absolutely email, and then social media and anything where you have shopping or payment information. If you unfortunately have an email provider that doesn't support two-step verification, so if you typed it into that 2fa.direct website and it came up red, I really would very strongly urge you to set up a new primary email account, because it means you can't set up this additional security. It really will go a long way into protecting yourselves. We also must be careful about the amount of personal information that we choose to share. There may be lots of information readily available that we don't realise. In fact, if you do a bit of research on yourself, putting your name and the area that you live in or the city, it may surprise you how much information you can find. In part, that may be down to consented data. So this is something that affects every single one of us that is over 18, quite simply. So when we download apps, for instance, where we agree and install, or where we sign up for subscriptions, newsletters, email shots, it can be anything really, store loyalty cards, memberships. So wherever you have terms and conditions, it's really important that you scan read and tick the box that opts out of your information being shared with other companies. This is where they get our permission to sell our details on. There are also online directories that contain huge amounts of personal information. And when I came into this world about 9 years ago, I was really quite horrified to see that for really only a couple of pounds, you could have bought my last 3 addresses, my private email, my private mobile number. And this is unfortunately because of consented data and not being aware previously about the importance of opting out. So it's really quite important that we do that. And we need to be alert to the fact that our information is out there. And just because somebody making contact with us knows a bit of information about us, it doesn't necessarily mean that that contact is legitimate. Personally, I have opted to deny location permissions for my smartphone camera. So that means it doesn't save the precise location of where I took a photo. That means I am okay then to share it sort of on social media, enter it into online competitions, etc. So you may wish to look at app permissions, particularly regarding location with the various things that you use. Do make sure that you back up the data on your devices, so photos, contact details, etc. Unfortunately, devices do get lost, they get stolen, or they pack up. It's actually the information that's on them that matters to us more than the device. So do set up a cloud account and have things backed up. So in the event of anything happening to your devices, you have still got a copy of what matters to you somewhere else. And whilst we're still on about information sharing, it's a good time to mention social media. Just remember that it is social media. Please don't have your employer or job title listed. And we say that for a number of reasons. Firstly, that criminals do actually use the information that they find online to actually carry out fraud and cyber type offences. It's very useful to them. And secondly, we also have the issue around a lot of people use social media not realising quite how many people can see information, posts, etc. If you posted in reply to something that was perhaps on a public page, it's not just your friends and family that can see your comment. So if somebody takes exception or offence at what's been posted, if you've got your employer listed, it does give them a direct line to actually go to your employer and make a complaint, which can then cause issues. Be a good friend. If you use Facebook, change your settings to hide your friends list so that it is not publicly viewable, which it will be if you haven't changed it. So already this morning, I've dealt with a couple of people who have had their Facebook account cloned. So Somebody's copied the image, copied the name, set up a new account, and then they then send out new friend requests to existing contacts. So that is called cloning. Hiding your friends list or making it visible only to you or your friends makes you much less likely to become a victim of this. Be mindful that your friend settings can affect your security. So, for example, if you've tagged somebody else in a post and their settings are less than yours, it's quite possible that a much wider audience may actually see your content. We need to think of social media a bit like a spider's web where information can drop through without us realizing it. So, if we live by the rule that, if you wouldn't say it outside where somebody could overhear, then you probably shouldn't be posting it online either. Checking into places, quite common. People like to check in and show people where they are. It's really quite important that we understand that that is a public thing, not just for your friends and family. Also, bearing in mind, of course, that quite simply, if you're telling people where you are, you're also telling people where you are not, quite simply. Uh, what I would urge you to do at this point is perhaps give some of your social media accounts a bit of a review, see if you can change those settings to give you more control. You can make it so that people can't share your posts. You can set it so that if you are tagged in a post, you are alerted immediately, so you can change it. So I've put a link there to social media checklists. So all of those ones on the right there are covered. And now is a really good time to review yours and your youngsters' social media accounts. Bait and switch posts. This is predominantly Facebook. We're seeing a lot of fake posts online, and just to explain how this comes about, quite simply, we will see essentially posts that tug at the heartstrings, that make us want to help others. So these generally appear on community pages. They might be found or injured animals, somebody trying to find their birth family. It might be that they found something of value, or like in the screen there, you can see it's supposed to be a sentimental piece of jewellery. So these appear on community pages. The area is often hashtagged, that's to increase its reach. And Americanisms are used. Please bump, please flood your feeds, or little guilt type things. It'll only take 2 seconds to share. Please help. In most of these, you will note that the comments have been turned off. So this is where we're saying, please don't share these. These are bait and switch posts. They've picked something that people are likely to want to help and share. But once it's shared and shared widely, they will edit the original post to something else entirely. You will not be updated to the fact that the content has changed, and then the scam post appears in your name because you shared the post. So generally they will be something like fake grants, fake competitions, etc. And there's a risk there that people who trust you may believe the new content that's showing on your feed. Phishing emails. This is one of the ways in which people manage to extract our login information from us. So the sort of emails and texts we see, they take many plausible forms, they appear authentic, but there is virtually always some sort of sense of urgency to make you act quickly. So this might be, your account has been suspended, there's a problem with the purchase you made, your payment has not been successful. It's something to make you want to react quite quickly. What happens is, if you click on the link or shortcut, it will take you to a copycat fake login page where you type in your details, but you've sent them to the fraudster, quite simply. So please make it an absolutely golden rule. Never click on a link or button to log in or to resolve an issue. If something concerns you, just log in via a browser or an app the way you normally would, because your account will tell you if there's an issue. As I mentioned, it's not just emails though, it's the same applies to text messages. Unfortunately, if you receive a scam text message from somewhere you deal with already, so your bank or PayPal, etc., smartphones file very simply, and the fake messages will go in the folder with the real ones, which can afford sort of authenticity, if you like, but we mustn't be duped by that. So again, don't click on links or buttons within text messages. If you have something that's asking you to ring, personally, I would be looking up a number myself to make sure I'm phoning a legitimate number and not a fake call centre. And please understand as well that caller ID does not verify where a call comes from. Your landline or your mobile will display what it's been told to say. Very easily overcome, very easily changed. So it does not verify where a call comes from. Misdelivery, scam emails and texts, we're still seeing a lot of these. There has been a slight change in that we're now seeing ones that instead of saying misdelivery are saying your package couldn't be delivered because the address is incomplete, the package was damaged and they can't read the address. It may mention that a fee is payable because not enough postage was paid, or a customs payment is available. And most recently, I've started seeing emails that say your item has been delivered, and there's a little thumbnail picture of the proof of delivery. It says click on the picture to see proof of delivery and where your item was delivered. Unfortunately, that's laced with malware. So actually clicking on that to enlarge the picture will install malware on your device. So please be very alert to those. Our advice to you is if you do have online shopping and deliveries, then you probably better downloading the apps for the official delivery companies, because we don't tend to see problems with the messages contained within apps. This relates to text messages and emails. Can you report them? You can, and please do. Any sort of suspicious email you can report simply by forwarding to report@phishing.gov.uk, and for text messages, simply forward to 7726. Why report? Since this system was set up, more than 1/3 of a million fake web pages have been taken down because of the things being shared by the public, thanks to people like you. So we're actually disrupting that behaviour. We are protecting others by those sort of sites being taken down, and it disrupts the behaviour of those committing the offences. A little word of warning regarding WhatsApp. We've seen quite a few incidents of WhatsApp accounts being taken over, and these are predominantly linked to group chats. So you will receive a call or message from a group you are already in. You may know who is trying to contact you or believe that you do. And a couple of different things happen. They might state to you that they're setting up a video meeting and they need a code to admit you, or they may claim to be admin doing some clear up on the group. And if you want to remain in the group or if you wish to leave, please let them know the code that you've just received. But it's vitally important you understand you must never forward or disclose any codes you receive via WhatsApp, because it's a code protecting your account. If you disclose that code to somebody else, it will essentially allow them the option to take over your account and then start messaging people in your name effectively. So it's really important we get that message out. SIM swap fraud or mobile phone number hijacking. We've seen quite an increase in this, and we've now decided to go public with it because of how prevalent this is. Looking back sort of 3 or 4 years ago, we may only see 1 or 2 a month. We're now potentially seeing sort of 3, 4, 5 of these each week, and we want to share this information with you. If you receive any sort of message or email from your network provider that mentions pack codes, new SIM or eSIM ordered, or your account to be deactivated or leaving the network, you need to take action immediately and contact your network provider. Please do not engage with any incoming calls that claim to be your provider. What we tend to see here is that you'll get one of those messages and then you'll get a call, for example, from EE saying they're just confirming the requests you've made for changes to your account. They will ask you to prove that you're the account holder by reading out the security code you've just been sent, but it is actually the offender that's looking to complete the transaction. It's vitally important that everybody understands we should never share codes that are sent to our phones. These are authorization codes, and it's what offenders need to continue in their authorization process of whatever it is they're doing, taking over your accounts, making purchases, etc. If any of the above happens, also, if you use online or mobile banking, it would be advisable to contact your bank immediately and just get that suspended to make sure there isn't any compromise there. Shopping safely online. One of the big things that we often come across is that people think that green padlock and HTTPS means you're on a legitimate website. Unfortunately, it doesn't. What it means is the data is encrypted when it's transferred after you've entered it to wherever the information is going. So how do we avoid fake websites? Quite simply, don't be clicking on links in emails, pop-ups, etc. Make sure that you're shopping using trusted and reputable retailers. Do check out the reviews and returns policies. Don't reply to unsolicited emails or offers. And before you commit to buying, that is when we check HTTPS just to make sure that information is being securely transferred. And not everybody realises, well, we do need to take care when searching because ads and sponsored sites will always appear at the top of the results list. That purely means that they have paid to be put at the top of the list. Nobody, sadly, does any actual checks to make sure they're legitimate. So in terms of these sort of things, what we see most commonly is people that are caught out when they're wanting to renew passports, driving licenses, and recently a lot of people who think they've paid a Clean Air Zone payment, but it's actually a fake site because they've done a quick Google search, they've hit the one at the top of the list, not realising that it's a fake site. If you're doing any of the above, anything to changes to your passports, to driving licence, paying Clean Air Zone fees, etc., type gov.uk in the web bar and search within the site, because that way you know you're on the legitimate site and you won't get caught out. Do also please take care with QR codes. These are a legitimate thing that a lot of places use as shortcuts to take you to websites. But the first major rule, are you sure it's legitimate? Do check to see if it looks tampered with in any way. Has a sticker been placed over the top of a notice? Does it look like it's been added on? And one of the things we see most commonly where people are caught out is where they've zapped a QR code where they think they're paying for parking. If you're looking to install a pay by an app for your parking, please remember to search the App Store. Don't do an internet search for it. This is how we find people being caught out. They Google pay to park, etc. They hit the one at the top of the list, and as we've just seen, they're often fake ones. So if you're wanting to pay for parking by an app, do ensure that you search it on the App Store, not the internet. A little bit moving on towards young people now. The Internet Matters have developed the 3 R's to outsmart scams. So that is recognising, teaching young people how to spot scams. The second R is how to react if they think they are affected. And then finally, how to resolve and take action if necessary. Young people can be at risk of a range of scams, but predominantly we see the main risks as being phishing and social engineering, sextortion, which I'm going to cover in a little bit more detail in a minute, lots of fake competitions and fake news, counterfeit and misleading goods. So typically these might be weight loss type things, skin products, things that appeal to sort of teenagers, often advertised on social media. But this is where we need the importance of, is it too good to be true? We need to be teaching youngsters how to look up and research whether or not something's legitimate. And we also have the ever-present risk of youngsters being recruited essentially into money laundering. This often happens through sort of gaming type platforms or chats, and people basically ask them to make payments, send and receive money on their behalf, and they're able to keep a small amount of it. So we do need to make sure they're aware of that risk too. So, conversations to have and the importance of critical thinking. We need to explain to youngsters how important it is that they don't take everything at face value. And I've already seen, to be honest, over the last few weeks, just how badly X is delving into a pit. Derbyshire Police have actually taken the step of coming off X as a platform because of the issues around it. And of course, we recently had the announcement that Facebook are moving away from fact checking, and there already seems to be an awful lot of rubbish on there. So we really do need youngsters to be supported in understanding critical thinking. They need to question things. Do things look right? There's a lot of fake news. How many different places have they seen the story? Is it actually legitimate, or is it the same thing being recycled on different platforms? Was it shared on a website? Who told them? In terms of shopping and competitions, do things seem too good to be true? So the easiest way to explain this to youngsters is value versus probability. We see huge amounts of people being drawn in by fake Haven Holidays or Centre Parks accounts saying that they're giving away a family holiday for four. We're talking about not just a few pounds there, it's hundreds or thousands of pounds. Like and share to win a car, like and share to win a house. Quite simply, these just are not going to be legitimate, and we need to get youngsters to understand that these are not going to be legitimate things they're engaging with. I would urge you to visit Internet Matters because they have an entire hub dedicated to fake news, scams, critical thinking, etc. There's a great guide for parents on step-by-step critical thinking, and so hopefully those resources will be in the chat for you. If not, they will definitely be on the email that follows up from this session. So I mentioned sextortion. This is where an individual has knowingly sent, shared, or streamed intimate videos or images, and then unfortunately, then blackmail ensues either for cash, crypto, or gift cards. I'm going to talk about sextortion phishing in a minute. That's something else. But very simply, it's really important that we don't engage, we don't respond, we don't pay. It would be quite important as well to make sure that social media accounts are secure. So that would mean ending all active sessions, changing password, and enabling two-factor authentication. And as unpalatable as it might be to the young person, sometimes the only way to try and get over this risk is actually to deactivate social media accounts temporarily until the threat has passed. In actual fact, the NCA, the National Crime Agency, and the Department for Education put out a warning about financially motivated sexual exploitation of young people. So I will make sure that the links are in the email that comes out to you so you understand what resources there are to be able to help. Sextortion phishing emails, quite simply, these are just an attempt at phishing. They often contain the individual's password. I know your password, it is. I know your phone number, this is your address. It goes on to say that they've infiltrated webcams and have footage of you. They may demand crypto or gift cards. It goes along the same sort of threat of we're going to share this with all your contacts if you don't pay. Same advice, don't pay, don't communicate. The only thing you need to do if you have one of these phishing emails is to make sure you change the password mentioned anywhere else that you use it, because obviously they have an email address and a password. And if we have reused passwords, there is a risk to other accounts. Remember, you've got to be in it to win it. Really, really simple one. And again, tell youngsters quite simply, you can't have won a prize, competition, or lottery if you didn't enter into it. And don't forget, this can happen by a snail mail too. We still get these coming through the letterbox. Quite simply, you should never have to pay a release admin or any sort of insurance or advance free to claim any sort of legitimate prize. We often see this approach with online loans as well. So you'll go through a process of having applied for a loan. The information's been confirmed that you can have this loan, the schedule of payments, and then it'll pop something saying that you just need to pay £45 for the money to be released to your account, etc. This is what we call advance fee fraud, quite simply. And again, the old adage, quite simply, particularly social media giveaways, if it looks too good to be true, it will be. Just a little word of warning about telephone calls. Most youngsters have got smartphones now. Please do remind them, not everybody is who they claim. Please remember that caller ID doesn't verify where a call comes from. Quite simply, if it's anything to do with money, particularly bank accounts, etc., tell them that you will call them back in 5 minutes, and you can call them on a trusted number, one that you look up, not one they've provided. Please remember how critical it is that you always leave more than 10 seconds after ending a call and dialing out to make sure a call has terminated, or if you prefer, use a different phone. If this is a particular issue, you should speak to your landline provider about nuisance call prevention, or you can look at investing in call blocking technology, especially Truecaller, as they do have accredited status in terms of the quality of the products they provide. I want to play to you now a short clip of a phone call that we received within the cybercrime team. So that I had this call, as did my colleague Colin, who's very ably assisting me in the background with answering all your questions and posting links. So I just wanted to play this short clip to alert you to how AI can be used. And I think, to be fair, most people probably wouldn't realise that this is AI and not actually a person I'm engaging with.
Hi, my name's Jo and I'm one of the energy advisors covering your area. You're the homeowner there, are you?
I am, yes.
It's about your insulation material in the attic. Some of it has now been classed irritant by the British Lung Foundation.
Oh, no.
So everybody's entitled to have a loft inspection to check it out and make sure it's not causing any problems. So, would you like to take advantage of the free inspection to make sure your insulation is safe and working well?
Yes, I think I'd better.
Okay, do you fit the age bracket between 45 and 79 years of age?
Yes.
No, that's all right. Tell me about the property. What is it? Is it like a terrace or a bungalow? Or...
Semi-detached.
So for me, I think the important thing there was, I suppose I expected an AI call to have notable gaps or the answers not quite fitting in, there being a lot of time between what I was saying and what the response would be. And clearly that's not the case. So it really is easy to see how people can get caught out by these. So we will include the link to that if you want to play it and share it with other people. But yeah, AI is becoming really good. So what happens if the worst should happen and things go wrong? Quite simply, all frauds and cyber incidents need to be reported to Action Fraud. That phone service, unfortunately, is not available 24/7. However, the online reporting is. So I think I would probably urge you to actually report online if you are able to, if you've got a particular issue. If there's a particular vulnerability regarding the person that's affected, please do also report to your local police, either to the cyber team or the fraud team, if there is a vulnerability, because we can try and pick that up a little bit quicker and help with protect advice. So, a little bit of a recap then. What is absolutely key? I mean, this is key to all of us, but also with our youngsters. Make sure their accounts are set up with separate passwords, preferably based on 3 random words, and that two-step verification or two-factor authentication is enabled. It's really important they know never to share passwords and security codes, even if they know people, friends, etc., that they absolutely trust and they would, allow access to accounts. Things can go wrong. Just don't do it. They're for you to know only. It's important they understand the concept of social engineering and manipulation. Make sure they know what it is. Make sure that they understand that somebody could have hacked a WhatsApp account or another social media. So it's not necessarily the person they think they're talking to. And anything that we're faced with, as this year's theme says, do things seem too good to be true? That one's absolutely key. In terms of a little bit further signposting, in case we've piqued your interest, we are going to send out a wealth of information to you following this, including a copy of the slides. But I would urge you to give a quick go on the Cyber Action Plan from the National Cyber Security Centre. It only takes about 3 minutes. It's just a handful of questions that talks about what it is you're doing now to protect yourselves, and it will also advise you on what you can do further to protect yourselves and your family. If you know anybody that's self-employed or has their own small business, please do make them aware of this as well, because we do unfortunately see a lot of self-employed people and small businesses targeted. So it would be great to get them protected. Wake Up Wednesday. Do give Wake Up Wednesday a follow on social media. These are great one-page resources. You need an account to be able to download things from their site. However, if you were to do a Google search on Wake Up Wednesday and then select images, you will see a lot of these available and you can download them that way. Failing that, you can contact us if you had a particular request, whether it be Roblox, Snapchat, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever, and we can get these resources emailed out to you. But they really are super helpful, super simple. Derbyshire Alert. Some of you will be here because you received an alert from us saying that the event was happening. We do post on alert if there are particular frauds and scams that are quite prevalent and we need to make you aware of them. You won't be deluged. You'll get information from Action Fraud, from us, from your local beat team, and quite possibly the Police and Crime Commissioner and possibly National Neighbourhood Watch. You can actually control what information and messages you get, so you can actually get rid of some of those, but it is a free service and we would recommend signing up. There's a few useful websites at the end there if you did want to follow up and research a little bit more. Just a little reminder to please tell 2 others. The wider we can get these messages out about passwords, 2FA, etc., the more people will be protected and the less victims we'll have. And then just at the end, a little bit of information again in terms of how to contact us. So we have the Derbyshire Police Online Safety Facebook page. We have our email address there. We do hope that the session has been helpful to you. As I mentioned, there will be a request of whether or not you could spare 2 minutes just giving us some feedback in terms of the content. And what I will do now is just call upon my very glamorous assistant, Colin, to see whether or not we've had any particular questions that we need to cover. Colin, is there much?
I don't believe there is. We had one question about the best way to make an old tablet safe for sale or disposal. I've put some advice in there about deregistering it from cloud accounts and then completing factory resets. But what I would say is if you're in doubt, always seek some professional advice around that before disposing of it or selling it on.
That's a really good point. Even if we're passing devices on to other members of family or selling to friends, it's a really good idea to make sure that you break the link between cloud accounts, etc., so that your access potentially can't be accessed by somebody else, and the good old reset, get everything deleted. Don't forget as well, if there's anything removable, SIM cards or memory cards, we need to be taking those out as well.
And I think that was it. There's no other questions coming.
Brilliant. If anybody did have any further questions, you've got a couple of minutes now to pop them in the chat. Failing that, if you didn't want to ask in a group setting, you are very welcome to either pop a message on Derbyshire Police Online Safety on Facebook, or drop us an email, cyber@derbyshire.police.uk, or reply to the email that I'll be sending out later this afternoon. And just a remark, just a repeat to say thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate those to take times out of a busy day just to learn a little bit more. We hope it's given an oversight in the sort of things that you can do to protect yourselves and your youngsters. Any questions at all, that's what we're here for. Please ask.